Haidong! In this video, we're going to talk about the application of the Form 4 parry. Just so you know what we're talking about, so we're here, we parry, and then we do our uppercut and our dive cut. So this is in the middle of Form 4, so here's a couple things you can think about, right? So first I'm going to talk about the technique a little bit more, and then a little bit on the application, right? So if we're here, really think about as you're so first of all, notice the center of the blade, right? So notice that again where the fulcrum is going to be. It's kind of sliding a little bit first. It's going to tip. So this is twisting. It's going to twist, and then it's going to pull back here. So notice that it's translating across more than just meh. So this is not what you're doing, right? So the idea again is you're curling. So curl again, maybe around like this fulcrum or even that fulcrum here, and then as you're dragging back, use your elbow almost like you're coming out this way, right? So it's here, right? So notice again, the blade is going to be protecting at least most of you in the front here, right? Just different angles. I should be on that one, that spinny thing that advertisers use. But here, and then from there you can flip for that 1, 2, right? So a couple more times, right? So the idea here, as I'm sliding back, so tip the tip, tip as in the verb, the tip, the noun, tip the tip around this way, and you're going to again translate the center of the mass, almost like you're trying to pull the sword in this way, right? So again, this is not this. So notice that this is going to have a lot of flex the more you have it in front. You want to have that back this way. So this is very stable, this is not, right? So be very careful. So if you do feel any flexing, especially like on the top of the wrist or even in the wrist itself, really think about more engaging your shoulder, again your deep shoulder, and throwing back your elbow, almost like you're trying to elbow someone behind you, but just a little more open. So once again, here, tip, back, flip, and then 1, 2. Making sense? A quick combination from Form 4, right? So without the partner, it's just here, and then 1, 2. So the canonical federation, at least I heard this from a federation master, is that you're using this to block a crosscut, right? So if you give me that crosscut, I'm able to actually give you the block, right? So if you give me cross, I come in, blocking this way. I suppose we probably should be much closer than that. So again, so if you give me a crosscut, I'm blocking this way. But notice, if I really want to, and you really want to kill me, you can keep pressuring, keep pressuring, keep pressuring. Eventually, I might collapse, right? It'll be very easy for him to kind of like lower his sword and also be able to collapse right through my blade, right? So if we try that again, give me that crosscut, I might initially stop you, but then all you need to do is get a little bit lower. It's very easy for me to lose my momentum. That said, so with the federation, if you give me that crosscut, I'm here. I'm going to use this motion to flip and then hit your rib. I can follow up and then finish off with a kill shot. Now, a couple things to think about, right? So if we do that a little bit faster, right? So if I'm here and up this way, it's a lot of jerking motions, right? So it's not a very clean, like parry or anything like that. I'm stopping, flipping, cutting. So it's possible to do that if you have a very rigid sword, and if their sword is also pretty rigid. But we have slightly flexible blades. But also, like, not all blades are going to be that solid, right? Additionally, if he's fast enough, even if I'm trying to do this, he can just blow right through it easily, right? So yes, this can initially stop a crosscut, but again, if they really want you dead, they're just going to keep pushing, or they might go lower, and it'll be very easy to go and blow out through the cross. But that is one way to think about that parry. The way that I like it is if you kind of stab at me, this is going to be more of a parrying this way. So notice that my elbow is drawing up this way. So it's the twisting as well as the translation of the blade coming across. So once again, I'm using the false edge or the back end of the sword as it's coming in. I'm going to use that, parry, and then drag across. is really weird slow motion. But again, and then open. So at this point, I can go on top of his arms, go for the slide to the neck. If I end up underneath, I can slide underneath to get his armpit or something like that. So the world is your oyster, which is a really weird idiom, whatever. But again, if you give me that thrust, the main idea is to really think about your elbow, being able to push off to the side this way, here, right? And then being able to hit. I can do a nice wrist shot because he's wearing gloves, or anything higher, like allegedly hit chest, rise up to the neck. That'd be pretty happy. Again, be careful when you do practice with this because now what didn't happen in the clip, just because again we again kind of know how to go around it, is that if you do work on this flip, be careful that if they do keep applying pressure with that cross, if you flip it, it might aim for your eyes. So be very, very careful if you do this at the very first couple times. Wear a mask, which is not something that you probably would have thought initially, but wear a mask because when you do flip this, it might hit your ear, it might hit your eye, it might hit your nose, it might hit your mouth. Be very careful, right? And likewise, be careful about, again, that parry. So if your opponent is not used to being parried and having the blade thrown off in a direction, it could actually cause some damage to them. So again, be very careful because they might try to brace it in weird ways. They might kind of hyperextend, which is good for you because good technique, but also not good for them because pain, which apparently is not a good thing. So be very, very careful. Like the first couple times you do these combinations specifically because again, one might harm you, the other might harm the other person, which might mean I like that technique more. But be again very, very careful. It does help to have curved weapons for this one, so the safety swords don't work as well. But if you have a mukam and you do have enough safety that you can do that safely, I'd recommend it. But otherwise, do everything in your power to again be safe at that point. So on top of being safe, stay humble and keep training. Haidong!